While watching TV, Mama Dog and her children happened to see an announcement about a biology research course. Peopi and his younger sister kept begging to join the course, so Mama Dog finally agreed. They quickly headed to the course, and Peopi and his younger sister couldn't hide how excited they were. Before long, they arrived at the research center. It was filled with fascinating creatures and scientific equipment they had never seen before. They quickly completed the enrollment process and were each given a perfectly fitting school uniform. Even though the course was completely free, everything was well organized and fully equipped. Peopi was also taught by the professor how to use a microscope. It was the first time he had ever seen the cells of a leaf in such incredible detail. After finishing the theory lesson, each student was given a bag of seeds and immediately began the hands-on practice at the school. Mama Dog received a bag of carrot seeds. She quickly took them into the greenhouse and carefully planted them there. Meanwhile, Peopi received a bag of tomato seeds. He carefully planted them and successfully grew his very first tomato sprouts. Peopi's younger sister, on the other hand, received lettuce seeds, so she had to germinate them in a cool, humid environment. After many days of caring for their plants, it was finally time for the harvest. Mama Dog's carrots had grown remarkably well, becoming much larger than ordinary carrots. Meanwhile, Peopi's tomatoes had also grown much larger than usual, and they were incredibly juicy. Peopi's younger sister's lettuce had also grown beautifully, with large, fresh, vibrant green leaves. When it came time for judging, the professor was extremely impressed with the vegetables that Mama Dog's family had grown. The research results showed that the vegetables grown by Mama Dog's family were 200% better than normal. In recognition of this remarkable achievement, Mama Dog and her 2 children were honored with a special award. Sometime later, the vegetables grown by Mama Dog's family were being sold in markets everywhere, and they quickly became a favorite among shoppers. Like every other morning, Mama Dog stepped outside to pick up the day's newspaper. But today was different. They had been featured on both TV and in the newspaper. The day before, while they were preparing breakfast in the kitchen, they heard the sound of a crowd outside. It turned out the noise was coming from a group of environmental volunteers. Mama Dog, Peopi, and his older sister had always wanted to join an activity like this, but had never had the chance. So they asked if they could join, and they were gladly accepted. First, they were given uniforms and gloves. Before they began cleaning, they listened to the team leader assign everyone's tasks. Peopi and his older sister were assigned to collect plastic bottles in the park. Because of her agility, Mama Dog was assigned to remove litter trapped inside the hollows of trees. The local residents were very supportive and donated drinks to the volunteer team. At lunchtime, everyone took a break, enjoyed the donated drinks, and ate simple kimbap. After working so hard, it tasted especially delicious. It was probably the most delicious meal Peopi had ever eaten. After the lunch break, they began planting trees. Perhaps when Peopi and his older sister are all grown up, the tiny saplings they planted today will have become towering green trees. Next, they warmed up before heading into the park's pond to clean it. As they watched Mama Dog and the other volunteers cleaning the pond in the water, Peopi and his older sister couldn't wait to join in. Before long, the pond was free of litter, and the creatures living there happily enjoyed the clean water once again. Finally, they put all the trash into the proper bins for disposal. Oh, it looked like a female reporter was taking photos of them. At the end of the day, they washed their hands and feet before heading home. The article about them was published soon afterward. Since the whole family had spent the entire day cleaning, they didn't have time to cook, so they decided to buy dinner instead. And that's how they ended up being featured in both the newspaper and on TV, just as we saw earlier. Today was a hot summer day, so Peopi and his older sister went to the park to buy some ice cream. Peopi and his older sister noticed that the park was packed with people enjoying swan pedal boats that day. The two of them wanted to try it too, but the ticket price was far beyond what the two little puppies could afford. As soon as they got home and Mama Dog left for the market, Peopi and his older sister came up with an idea. The two of them searched through the refrigerator, gathering ingredients as if they were planning to make something to sell. Luckily, they found some ice and a bottle of syrup in the refrigerator. Peopi's older sister immediately suggested making shaved ice with syrup. The two siblings crushed the ice into fine shavings, poured syrup over it, and thought that was all it took to make shaved ice. After taking a bite, they realized something was missing. It didn't taste nearly as good as the shaved ice they had bought before. Their neighbor, a little pug puppy, happened to witness the whole thing. As it turned out, his father had once run a shaved ice stand and knew the recipe by heart. So Peopi and his older sister asked him to teach them, and he kindly shared the recipe without keeping any secrets. After learning the recipe, Peopi and his older sister began designing a sign for their shaved ice stand. As luck would have it, the weather was scorching hot that day, and everyone was looking for a way to cool off. Less than 5 minutes after opening, their shaved ice stand was already surrounded by a long line of eager customers. Everyone loved the shaved ice. Once Peopi and his older sister had earned just enough money to buy the swan pedal boat tickets, they decided to stop selling for the day. Another problem came up. They couldn't buy the swan pedal boat tickets unless an adult accompanied them. Just then, Mama Dog was on her way home from the market and happened to pass by. After hearing what had happened, Mama Dog bought the tickets for her two children, and together they finally got to enjoy the swan pedal boat ride. Today, while picking up her two children, Mama Dog stopped by a stall selling matcha tiramisu. Peopi and his older sister really wanted to try it, but sadly, Mama Dog didn't have enough money to buy one. With heavy hearts, the three of them quietly headed home together. As she thought about it, Mama Dog suddenly remembered her older sister back in the countryside. She owned a large tea plantation and a tea processing factory in the countryside. Without wasting any time, Mama Dog and her family set off for the countryside to harvest tea leaves and make matcha powder for the cake. The tea plantation stretched as far as the eye could see. It was the first time Peopi and his older sister had ever seen tea plants growing in nature. Their aunt patiently showed Peopi and his older sister the proper way to pick tea leaves. After struggling for a while, Peopi and his older sister finally got the hang of picking tea leaves. Meanwhile, Mama Dog and their aunt enjoyed freshly brewed tea right in the middle of the tea fields. Just then, Peopi and his older sister finished picking all the tea leaves they needed. After that, their aunt took the whole family to her tea factory.
Wow.
factory, Peopi and his older sister learned how to dry the tea leaves and how to tell when they were ready for processing. Once the tea leaves had finished drying, they were placed in a dryer for one more round of drying before being turned into matcha powder. Once the dried tea leaves came out of the dryer, Mama Dog and their aunt ground them into fine matcha powder together. Nothing else was added, just pure tea leaves. And with that, a fragrant batch of pure matcha powder was ready. After receiving a bag of matcha as a gift, Mama Dog returned home and began showing off her baking skills. First, she whisked the flour until it was smooth, then added the matcha powder. After a few simple steps, Mama Dog placed the cake batter in the oven. All that was left was to bake it. At last, the matcha tiramisu was ready. Peopi and his older sister could hardly contain their excitement and couldn't wait to take the first bite. At last, Peopi and his older sister finally got to enjoy the matcha tiramisu they had been dreaming of. Mama Dog also sent a slice to their aunt in the countryside as a heartfelt thank you for all her help.
죄송합니다만 돈 없이 시는 티켓을 구매하실 수 없습니다.
실례합니다. 혹시 두고 가신 지갑이 이것인가요?
여기 객실 열쇠가 있습니다. 저희 호텔을 선택해 주셔서 감사합니다. blanket for the whole group is enough.